What up? You guys are doing well. Give folks a minute to kind of get in here because I know A, I'm kind of late getting on, and B, I didn't get the actual preview set up. So I might not know where to click or what to do. Hopefully people will find it. But anyway, Luke, are you on?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Okay. Anyway, sorry for the lack of organization and whatnot. It's been a busy day, and a lot of the stuff that I normally do on my phone and getting these things set up, I haven't had this week. And anyway, so apologize for delay and disorganization, but we're here, and it's Friday, which means it's the weekend, and glad for that. So anyway, so let's roll into this. What are you thankful for today? If you're watching, definitely say hi in the chat. Honestly, like right now, I'm just thankful to be here. I'm glad that we can do this today. I was rushed getting home to be able to get here on time, so I'm thankful that we're here. So how about that? So let me know what you are thankful for today. I see that Luke is thankful for electronics to do summer school, so that's cool since obviously not able to do it at school. So others that are watching, let me know. Just say hi and let me know what you are thankful for today. So let's move into quarter team games. So last time the question before us was, what is the hottest ever temperature in Illinois ever recorded? Correct answer was 117. Man, most of you guys are really, really close. Luke and Alec were each one away. Luke said 116, Alec said 118. And so since we're just doing closest and not doing prices right, closest without going over, you guys tied, so you'll each get a quarter added to your total. So we'll stick with that same theme for today. So what are your guesses for the coldest ever recorded temperature in Illinois? We did hottest last time. Today, coldest. What is the coldest ever temperature recorded in Illinois? Let me know what you guys think. So let's see. I got texts coming in from Scrinchix. Eric, thankful for outside. Alec is thankful for his brother. So I love that. Thank you guys for checking in, for being a part of this, and for always being faithful and sending that stuff over. So anyway, all right. Let's get into our actual study. So we're in Exodus chapter 20, working our way through the 10 Commandments, right? So we are up to number 2. We obviously did number 1 last time. So remember, we are, as we're near the beginning, as we've talked before, you can kind of split these up from the first 4 and the last 6. It doesn't really split down the middle like we like. The first 4 are all about our relationship with God, sort of a vertical view of things. And 5 through 10 are about sort of a horizontal view of things, of like our relationships with other people. And so we're still in that mindset of, okay, how are we relating to God? We talked last time about no other gods before me. So today, again, depending on your translation, the KJV says no graven images. I think ESV says no carved images. NIV says no idols. And what's interesting, so we look at like 5 through 10, this horizontal thing, those things are all pretty much universally accepted. Like most cultures or the bulk of history understand. You're not supposed to murder. You're not supposed to commit adultery. Don't lie. Don't steal. Like all those sorts of things, right? It's really these first 4 that sort of set us apart in terms of what we believe as Christians and following the one true God, that there is one true God, and how are we supposed to worship him. So these are really important for our faith and our understanding of who God is. So I want to make sure we get these right. All right, so I want to read this really quick. So I'm going to read verses 4 through 6. All right, in Exodus 20, it says, "You shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the 3rd and the 4th generation to those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments." So for one thing, God sort of lays out his jealousy as a God, but also his loyalty as a God to his people, which I love and I appreciate. But look, we read that, we think about, okay, so no carved images, no idols, however your translation happens to phrase it. there's a sense where as we read that and we just say no idols, okay, like that's the same thing as number 1, where it says no other gods before me. And look, they're similar, but there's a couple of things that are different about this that I want to make sure we get. So part of this is no images of false gods. You're not going to carve an image for them, like Baal or Asherah or something like that, okay? An Egyptian god, whatever. That's obviously forbidden in the way this is written. That's sort of like we read that and it's like, duh, of course that's what that means. But there's more in the way that this is written and how it connects with some other passages in like Deuteronomy, for instance, that show us that this is not only talking about false gods, this is also talking about not making any images to represent the one true God. The way that this is worded tells us that that's also forbidden in this commandment. Because here's the thing, God is different from all the other gods, okay, little g gods. He is invisible. You can't see him. So part of what God is telling the Israelites and telling us that he is invisible. We can't see him. So we are not to go making things of him to be seen. Because ultimately that's going to lead to us sort of replacing God in our minds with that thing, okay? Look, I get that it's hard to sort of worship a God that we can't see. I get the challenge of that, but that's who God is, and we have to respect him for who he is and not make him into something that we want. We need to worship and follow him anyway. I think of it like this, like Lucy and I are reading through the Chronicles of Narnia right now. And I know some of you guys are like, have watched those movies recently, okay? So like when I'm reading those books, because I've seen those movies now, when it talks about Lucy, I don't think of just some random girl. I think of the girl that I've seen in the movie. I can picture her face. It says Edmund. I picture the young man that played Edmund. That image is in my brain and I connect those things, okay? That's a dangerous thing when it comes to God, because if I make something, whether it's an actual image or maybe just me in my mind make an image of what God looks like, then that sort of ends up replacing who he actually is. That's a dangerous thing. And part of the lesson of this is we can't worship God in just any way we want, okay? We have to worship him in the way that he has said and the way that he has commanded. We have to follow his commands for that. Otherwise, I read a quote from a guy named Anthony Burgess from 1646. He basically said, like us following our own version of God and saying that he has to fit into my box and my expectations of what he is, or making a carved image like this would be like the sun following the clock. Right? We make a clock to follow what the sun does, not the other way around. And we need to make sure that we're getting this in the right order and worshiping God for who he is, not he has to meet my standards. So what does that mean for us now? Okay. First of all, we've got to recognize that our stuff, we're not making an actual statue and bowing down to it. I get that. But our stuff that we can see and hold, whether it's money or electronics or cars, I don't know, whatever. That can be different things for different people among us, sports stuff. That stuff can become a god, can become an idol in our lives. And so we need to guard against that. That would sort of fit in the category of what this is telling us, this commandment is telling us, to not be worshiping something physical rather than the invisible God. We need to be careful about that. But the other thing that I want us to see today, we need to make sure that we are in God's word and have a clear picture from God's word. Let him teach us from his word who he is, instead of us assuming that we know who God is or letting the world around us define who God is. We need to let him define himself and worship him for who he truly is, not my own made up image of him. That's really, really important. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you guys for being here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Next time we will take on Don't Take the Lord's Name in Vain. So if you missed it, today's quarter team game question, coldest temp ever in Illinois. So don't forget about that. Hopefully see you guys Sunday. We'll do Lord's Supper at church, and we'll be right back here Monday for our next devotion. So love you guys. We'll see you later.